Taurus, these are your messages for September 2021. Apologies about my voice. I have a cold and I have been working on some things. There's some great revisions going on in my life. Discernment, boundaries. There's some great evolutionary changes going on in my life, and I am focusing on different things as per usual, and extremes. Beginnings. Right away, Taurus, I am getting knee-jerk response, knee-jerk reaction vibes. Something like you peep something, and like, okay, so you know when you realize something and it's astounding, you're like, oh, and then you go into the space where you're reacting to something. So let's say, let's use jokes, for instance. When somebody insults you in a joke and everybody's laughing and you start laughing, and then you realize who the crux of the joke is, and it's you, and it's let's say something personal that you shared with that person, and although they didn't name names, you know that they're talking about you, and like you catch on later on, then your response is to be kind of upset with that person and to have like some type of oh, I can't believe you said that, some type of conflict with the person, right? It's seen here in this discernment, boundaries, and extremes. And then, so what starts in this beginning card is from that knee-jerk response to a perceived offense, right? So let's say somebody did in fact offend you, and then you're reacting like, oh my God, well, I'm not going to talk. Like, you get upset. When you finally catch on, you get upset. You are offended, and you adjust the ways in which you interact with this person. And usually it's withdrawal. Usually you withdraw your energies real quick, right? That's what I'm getting from here, because you have a new boundary. You have a perceived threat, so you developed a new boundary to protect yourself. And although it's a little bit extreme in presentation, because perhaps it was not, the other person didn't intend. So a lot of interpersonal communication. The other person didn't intend to identify you in that way. They were just making a joke, and perhaps it didn't cross their mind that this was concerning you, and you know, just a big miscommunication that created a conflict. So now you have these gigantic walls up, and you're proceeding without this person in mind. So the dynamics of the relationship has changed, and you no longer interact with them the same ways that you did. Perhaps you don't speak to them. The dynamics of the relationship is changing. Perhaps you don't speak with them when you walk by. Perhaps you don't give eye contact. Knight of Cups. Perhaps you're not as amorous in your interactions with them. Eight of Pentacles. Perhaps this is someone that you work with. Nine of Wands. And you become defensive. The this path of unresolved conflict, right? The relationship dynamics that are changing lingers on over time, and you become defensive. You feel unsafe. So even behind these walls that you created in the form of what you call boundaries, what you consider boundaries, right? And so your work changes into now maintaining your boundaries, maintaining the wall. Queen of Cups. And what you're really trying to do is protect your feelings, the world, till you know how to approach this relationship, till you have figured out how you've changed in this dynamic. And what is the outcome? That was pretty straightforward. Wow. I can't even. Queen of Swords and the Three of Wands, giving me a lot of knee-jerk reaction, and then pausing to see, adjusting your behavior to interact with this person, then pausing to see the outcomes, pausing to examine how you feel. So when we have the discernment, you peep something that you don't like, which causes you to become defensive and build these high walls against someone in a that you're in a relationship with. This could be any type of relationship: family, friends, lovers, marriage, your pet. Something has come to your attention that your perception may be adverse. And so this creates a dynamic in your relationship where you build these high walls and you become defensive against this person. I know that I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to explain it in a more clear way. So then you proceed to evaluate the relationship and the conflict and why you're upset. You adjust your behaviors and how you interact with this person. And what you're really trying to do is to protect yourself while you're processing the information that you have received about this relationship dynamic changes, right? And it could be that you decide in that moment, because it's near one of your trigger points, to cut the relationship off, and then you're just kind of, or you cut yourself off. You establish a boundary, an extreme boundary that cuts you off from the situation and allows you to examine your feelings, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors from behind those tall walls. Does that make sense? And so the new beginning with the beginnings and the Death card and the Knight of Cups is to see how much you value this relationship, and if you're wanting to hold on to it, maintain it in some type of way, if this is even possible, if it's worth the investment to work on it and things like that. So this is what the Three of Wands is giving me. And so you're re-evaluating a relationship. Your walls are up, your antennas are up at attention, and you're just not, for the moment, you have responded with behavior, and you have adjusted how you interact with this person, if you even decide to. If you decide just not to with this Queen of Wands, then you're in a space where you're in your boundary bubble, just evaluating how you feel, waiting for time to pass, and seeing if those feelings change over time. And then you are not necessarily right now in a space where you're going to reapproach the relationship. You're just in a space where you're protecting yourself and evaluating how you feel about the situation. Death. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. Evaluating how you feel in the situation. And we have the High Priestess. So this is really giving me self-exploration, consultation with your higher consciousness, and transformation of relationships or self, and how you deal in relationships, your behaviors. You're kind of taking a step back to observe, right? Putting yourself in this bubble where you don't have any emotional responses. That one already came and you were like, oh, I'm building this wall, I'm defensive, I'm protecting myself. So you already had the response to a perceived issue within a relationship or a situation, right, that has your attention. And you're aware that things that you are reevaluating the substance of the relationship and the value, and whether or not you want to maintain this relationship, continue, or work on it, whether or not the time investment and the work is worth it. And so you're in a space of self-exploration about how you feel. Third time saying it. I don't know why I'm saying it 3 times. How you feel about the situation, and intuitive information that you receive from your higher consciousness about where you are in the evolutionary process of your life.